All right, welcome to the live stream. All you guys, Info Create. He says he's been listening to a lot of Douglas Dietrich. You know, let me see what's the next thing that you said. When you're gonna do a 12-hour live stream, Terry. Oh, that's what I heard. I heard he does these marathon live streams. That's wild. Actually, let me enlarge this side for a second. I've listened to some of Douglas Dietrich's stuff, and in the past few days on some of the shows that I've done, his name has come up, and so anyway, all right. So I wanted the show tonight is a response really to my last show. After I did that show, it seemed like a lot of I knew it was going to be kind of explosive for some people, even though I was lampooning Sarah Rachel Adams, and that bit that I did, that reading her emails to Holly Baglio to the classical music in the background. I kind of got that idea when I was reading the emails, because when I read them, I go, oh my God, these are hilarious. Like, they're just funny. And, I asked Holly Baglio, I said, do you mind if I do those pieces, like performance pieces? Because, it doesn't matter if you know SRA or not, right? It just reads funny. All right. You could create a character out of it in yourself. Like, seriously, I've been thinking, is this a new bit? Because I redid it again on Truth Seeker's show. I did it impromptu. I picked one of them out and I just kind of did it again. And I got the idea from the actor Michael Shannon. And on YouTube, maybe later on at the end of the show, I'll try to find it and play it, okay? Because it's freaking hysterical. He's really performing or reading a sorority letter to her sisters, and it's really funny. And so I kind of saw it that way, and in many ways, I think when we're talking about each other or these people, right? To me, I think it's better to make it more comical, because in the comedy, I think there's a bit of grace in it. It's like not taking it alleviates something to the situation. Like, I feel that Holly felt better. And because, when we're able to laugh at, what other people are doing to us, then it makes it easier. And when I started, like, I've done several. Oh, it was a great read. Thank you, Rudy Roo. Somebody says Dietrich is a big liar. I don't know. I mean, I've Dietrich is a controversial character. I haven't been focusing on him as much as I have some other people in this group, this UFO conspiracy, super soldier, MK Ultra targeted individual, survivor, basis project, underground, kind of thing. There's a whole genre of it that came up on the internet. And I used to do a show on on a couple of those platforms that fall into that UFO conspiracy, but even slanting towards Alex Jones' right-wing truth media. And then this played out in our politics, because now we have the 17th letter of the alphabet and the Anons and all this kind of stuff, spewing things that Simon Parks is saying right now. Right? A guy who came on the scene and said that he was, he has relationships with a cat alien. I mean, even if you want to believe that that's true, okay, fine. But it sounds ludicrous. And it gives the people, the media, the mainstream media, the ones everybody tells you to behave and do this and that, it gives them the right to say, well, what you're saying isn't the truth because you're a conspiracy theorist, even though a lot of that stuff in there may in fact be true. See? And that is how, like, the media game is played. All right. But when I started doing the game stalking during the pandemic, it was just a ridiculous thing that people could still be doing targeted harassment when we have everything else that's going crazy in our life. And when I first started doing this show, or, you know, talking about this topic, I was sharing my own personal experiences. And many times I would be frightened and things would happen. But if I knew that I talked about it, or if I could joke about it with you, then it helped me. And I thought, well, you know, maybe it's actually, you know, helping other people. But one of the problems that I've had, and with the last show, is I said the very media, in my experience, these people have targeted me and other people and things. And this media has something very dark about it going on. And the very media that talks about how they can heal you and give you, you know, whatever else thing, or talk to the other aliens and tell you where your star home is and everything, right? Those people that say, oh, I'm a targeted individual because I'm involved with the secret space program or whatever, or I was, you know, MK Ultra, or I have beta kitten programming. All that beta kitten programming and MK Ultra, that is true stuff. Yes, there are CIA assets, right? Which ones that actually come in this media and talk about it, who actually really are? Well, that's a big question. And who actually really is targeted? Well, that's a big question too, for real. And what I was pointing out is that I think some of the people in this media, I think that they are not real. I think they're phonies, and in fact, they themselves are doing the targeting on the people who are actually targeted. They are the targeting network, and then they come off and they're doing shows and media and film and their documentaries and everything, giving testimony of somebody in this industry that was targeted, and that's Max Spears, talking about them as if, you know, like people are just popping out of the woodwork, like, oh yeah, I had this relationship with him and blank, 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 and blah, 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 blah. I'm sorry I didn't come forward before, and, you know, this and that, and on and on. Why? First of all, you got to ask yourself, why is it happening? What would be the motivation for somebody to come forward? Because basically, most of the time when they do give them information, I still haven't got anything out of it. Like, there was nothing really said that you can hold on to. But there is one thing that does happen. There's people that tend to point the finger at each other. Now Miles Johnston's getting the big finger point as being, you know, the bad guy in this paradigm here, right? Before that, you know, Douglas Dietrich. Speaking of Douglas Dietrich, before that, Douglas Dietrich was saying, oh, it's Sarah and Christine, or it's definitely Sarah, you know, as being responsible. And so there's all this stuff that okay, yeah. Evening from Texas. Hi, KB. Evening from Texas. Hey. Yeah, so now when I did this last live stream, right? I went on Truth Seeker show, like I said, Steve Cambion, and then I got notified by Vanessa Bates, which is Max Spears' mom, sends me something. She goes, Terry, I don't understand what this guy's saying about you. And I'm like, what? She's, it's really confusing. It's kind of weird, and you know, whatever. And I go, what guy? And she goes, Durward Mahon. And I'm like, oh, not that guy again. Not Durward. Okay. Like all of a sudden, I guess because of what I did in the last video, Durward gets activated. And I've already done a show on him. He's like I didn't really know who he was at first. Right? I've researched him more now. And I'm gonna show you guys a few things about him. Because frankly, he makes me uncomfortable. Like after I looked into him, I began to feel like there's a lot more maybe sinister things going on with him. Like for example, we'll get into it here in a moment, but he was on Miles Johnston's bases because Miles Johnston was doing a film contest. And I think that that's how Miles Johnston, that's how Sandra DeRoy got hooked up with Miles Johnston, because he did this film contest. And I guess like he said like a Ayin Propos is his real name. Ayin Propos had entered this thing about a Mexican ritual, all right, a Mexican blood sacrifice ritual, all right. So we're gonna see that footage in a bit here. Like it at first when I watched it, I almost didn't finish watching it because it just looked like a couple of like Miles and him were like frat boys going, because like Miles was being all serious about it, like at his microphone, and then it cuts away to him in a fucking jacuzzi. Sorry, I didn't mean to say fuck, but he's in a jacuzzi going in the water, like on the king, and he's got these like lamb chop kind of thing, but he's thinning on top, and he's sitting there, and he's I'm just, and he has a beer, and he takes the beer and he cracks it with like this thing, and like he's like with a knife, and he's like and you think he only does it once, right? Like you think that, okay, well maybe he was in the pool and he didn't have a knife, and he had to crack it and with his knife because he didn't have an opener, right? I'm going to take the Texas thing off here. Where'd we go here? Evening from Texas. Okay, I'm going to get to some of you guys' questions here in a bit, in just a second. And there's this blonde chick, in the pool with him. You're going to see in a bikini, and she's really pretty. And you're like, what the hell is this girl with him? Like, you know what I mean? It's like I can't see. I don't get the attraction. I know I'm going to sound awful, but I don't see it. But apparently, he gets these babes. But this is what I think. I think he probably went up to her to try, and he goes, yeah, flashed his money and his whatever, and he cracks his beer open with his knife, and whatever he does, and he's all Rico Suave or whatever. And I think he's going, yeah, you ever heard of the Basis Project with Miles Johnston? Yeah, well, I put a film in, and he's going to have me on. And then when Miles Johnston realizes that he has a hot chick, in a bikini, blonde and everything, Miles is like, yeah, yes, this is a great film festival. I'm going to put it in the film festival. And I thought he was real. I'm looking for new talent and new stuff. And here, and I'm like, oh, come on. Okay. It's like, to me, it's like comical, right? And you could say, all right, that's all there is, but there's more to it than that. There's more to it than that. And he does get into talking about the ritual and where it was and what they were doing. And that he basically says that he sacrificed a goat. And he'll have this, crescendo where he's screaming things about Cain and Abel and shit. All right. And to me, it was just a little bit like, it kind of frightened me a little bit. Like I'm thinking, okay, well, like, because recently he just did a video about me. The reason why he came back in my life, it's because the video that Vanessa sent me is him talking about me, saying that I've been talking about all these people and calling them pedos. And I was doing injustice to even saving children, because it's like, if you keep saying motherfucker over and over again, pretty soon that word has no shock value. So if you keep saying pedo all over and over again, then you are normalizing pedophilia. You're not helping it. And so that's what he says in his video, so about me recently. Okay. It's recently up there. And, the fact that he's, I'm like, okay, that guys is targeting this is targeting. All right. That this is like somebody's like they're in, and are they doing it together? Like, does somebody call him up and go, oh yeah, Terry made fun of Sarah Rachel Adams. He's trashing Sarah Rachel Adams too. the first video he did about me, he also talked about Sarah. Like, for a while, all these guys, these peripheral Miles Johnston Bases Project people, they all kind of like, you know, like one thing will happen and then they'll all kind of play their little part, it seems like. You know, all of a sudden, I've got to be talked about by these people. And they come up and they say ludicrous things. All right. He is not the first person that has literally told their audience. There's also a Thomas Williams who was in cahoots with Randy Moggins and doing shows and doing something with the Gold Manna Trust Fund, which sounded really scammy. Okay. And he told his audience that I was trafficking children for the Clintons, and with Stephen D. Kelly, we were pedophiles as well. And the reason why is because we were criticizing Randy Moggins for that. And therefore, if we were criticizing him for that, it's always the person who's criticizing someone that is the guilty person rather than the person who's criticizing someone. Now, for the record, before I show you anything, because I know I didn't mean to like open that Pandora's box of background information, but what I thought was interesting, I need to tell you it because it intersects with something that Durward Mahon said on his broadcast. He said, "Oh, I'm going to be on Randy Moggins' show soon." So to me, that is a link. Same thing with the Thomas Williams guy. Like, I'm accusing Randy Moggins of something. No, I've never accused anybody of being a pedophile. However, I have mentioned facts that have happened in this community. One of those facts is that the webmaster for Revolution Radio was arrested for creating child pornography online. This is a fact. It happened while I was a host on the network. All right. And I had been shown some web domains and subdomains, screenshots from a guy named Ben Duchesne's that had some interesting titles in them, and they were connected to Off Planet TV. They were connected to Carrie Cassidy. They were connected to Revolution Radio and the blog site Confessions of a Former White Hat that Michael Hemmingson used to write about and lampoon people like survivors of MK Ultra. And he did softcore pornography novelettes that was based on a real victim. These kind of things actually really took place at Revolution Radio. Now, have I said, or do I have evidence that any of those people are actually really involved with child pornography or anything of that nature? No, I don't, other than the fact that the domains looked weird. Nobody wanted to ever answer to it. And then this weird fringe shit happened for me. And I used to be these people's colleagues. So to me, they act guilty. What makes me the most think that they're guilty is because they do this. That makes me think that they're more guilty. All right. But I've been wanting to put that stuff to bed. Because as far as I'm concerned, if you've got something in your closet or you have, because Mr. Moggins, and he will say, "Oh, I did this." He will not ever address to me or explain what those things are. Nor I don't think does anybody else know either. But the fact that this joker, Durward, who, sacrificed a goat to Lucifer in a cave in Mexico, and this is his film entry for Miles Johnston, that guy is mentioning Randy Moggins' name in conjunction on the same show as he's trashing me. And am I supposed to think that there's no connection to that? You tell me. You ask yourself, You guys be the judge of who you think is really targeted in this community. And if they're going to be doing targeting film and media, then I would think that maybe they shouldn't be like writing hateful emails and actually gaslighting somebody. Isn't that a little bit hypocritical? So now that I've done that, wow, he's getting his popcorn. Don't say Alex Collier's names too. Oh yeah, he's a big. Well, you know, Alex Collier's not his real name. It's Ralph Armagron, and he's gone to prison for, you know, a fraud, tax fraud with the IRS, and he's hooked up to Carrie Cassidy. And you know, he's not the only person who's been out of prison that hooked up with Carrie Cassidy. Like, why do these people wipe their hands together and break bread? You know, everybody's just okay with it, right? Okay. All right. So I'm going to pull up the interview. And by the way, I'm going to make a statement here as I share these videos. Let's see. Wait a second. I'm gonna, you know, okay. Okay, no, that's not the one I want. Yeah, that's it. Okay, yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna get this going right here. Okay, I gotta stop the share and then redo it. Hold on. Make sure I share the audio. Okay. So this is it right here. I gotta take it back because I want to get to the very beginning of it all. Okay.
Some time ago, I mentioned that if you were on a holiday or you had an expedition or if you were going around the world or you have experiences or you've had a particular story to tell.
Okay, I'm going to just let me stop this right here for just a second. Hold on. Before I start this, I wanted to say that I'm using this by the Fair Use Act. This is a transformative work. We are educating the public and critiquing the video we are sharing. This is covered under the Fair Use Act and allowable by law. Okay, so I just want to make that announcement. I've got the ticker tape going on the bottom there. So here we go.
To bases and we'll put it together somehow. Well, on this occasion, Ayin has shot his own material. It was The Other Side in Austin, Texas, in his studio and his home and house and things, where he has compiled this edit from the Skype, which we've aired on the basis of his experiences in Mexico, where he went through traumatic experiences, and he wished to convey those.
So I just want to point out again, notice that this is the film festival. So this is his little pre-start on it.
This Skype. So this is his version. So if you have an experience or you're in a part of the world where you've got beautiful scenery and you've got your cameras, shoot as much as you can, clips, stills, whatever it is, we'll see if we can put it together. However, the idea is that you put it together and put it into the film festival. So if you have an experience or you have a story to tell, shoot it, edit it, and submit it to the film festival so people can see your story the way that you want it to be seen. On this occasion, it's me who's being seen looking at Ayin going through a traumatic experience describing the blood ritual in Mexico, which the Mexicans do. It's part of their culture, and he brought it to us with his cameras and his experience.
Yeah, blame it on the Mexicans. The Mexican brought in weed into the country. They also are doing blood rituals. All right, I'm just kind of joking right now. So
we'll do it right now. We can have a quick break.
What I'm ready to tell you about is the blood sacrifice ritual in Mexico.
Oh, it's tiny. It's this tiny little.
Yes, it'll be at the bottom of my
It's this
hand.
tiny little fucker. I can barely see it even.
Well, if you click on.
Okay, so I just this guy kind of to me looks like Sean Atwood. I don't know who he is. Maybe you guys recognize him. But I know it's not Sean Atwood, but he just kind of reminds me of him a little bit.
You get a little expand button.
Oh yeah, there we go.
See, there he is. He's like he's opening a beer bottle with his knife. This, notice that. And like, look, this isn't his first beer, okay? And usually when you see him in his videos, like he is always has a drink and he throws knives around. All right. So okay, so this is the girl.
Oh, and Miles, I'll get that later, okay? Oh, you're trying to encourage me to do littering.
Let me just save the world real quick.
Right, yeah.
I mean,
right before.
She's beautiful. I mean, she's in great shape. All right. So this is going to go on. We're not going to go through all of this part, but just a little bit of it. Okay. Cause it goes nowhere. It's in there. It's like, it's so mundane. It's like, oh my God, just get to the point. Okay. Maybe I'm a woman and I'm not enjoying it the same, but,
yeah.
All right, man. Okay. We're here at the new studio. You don't know studios, right? If there's one truth in the cosmos, one cosmic truth, the truth is you don't know, huh? You don't know. What's up? That's it, huh?
wow.
Yeah,
I can't. I mean, people are like, do people like this? Because to me, it's just like, it's just weird. It's like, the first time I saw him ever do an interview, it was of Holly Baglio, ironically. And he was just like, looked all sweaty to me. And he just looked at like, he had this Wolfman kind of look about him. And I was like, no, what's going on here? So.
Let's say hi to Miles.
Hi, Miles.
Hi, Miles.
So anyway, you got all
Hi,
these questions that you sent me to fill in on our 2-hour-long interview the other day. And so let's just talk about a few things. And thanks for asking about the new studio facilities here. We're here at the
Of course he asked about it.
in Austin, and I'm a client of Conscious Ventures, and we're working with Brett Thomas and Randall Wellborn and a bunch of other
people we don't know.
Motherfuckers, huh?
Oh, they're sexy motherfuckers.
And right now we're here at the hub, and this is where our new studio is. And I was fortunate enough to get a chance to buy in on this deal, so I'm one of the owners. And so I'm here with Bridget from the Conscious community, right? And we're
She's from the Conscious community.
This great, buildings and stuff here.
She's from the Conscious community. Hot babes from the Conscious community. She's from the Conscious community. She's got her arm around him. When is this going to be over? She's got like, is that kind of look? No, maybe not. Maybe not. It's like, oh shit, what have I gotten myself into?
This is basically the compound.
The compound.
We were fortunate enough to be.
It's the compound. Okay.
Interviewed by Miles on my, I guess what you call world debut last November, I think it was. And then shortly after that, we did that Leap Project interview, and it's practically gone viral. I mean, I'm just about beside myself with disbelief and everything like this. But there's been a number of questions that have come up. And there's.
I mean, my God, this guy goes viral. Okay.
Laguna Catamaco. So, right, we were there. So, how do I tell you what Laguna Catamaco is? I looked it up on Wikipedia, right? Yeah. So, anyway, Laguna Catamaco it's like a caldera. It's a ball.
Yeah, I always wear my sunglasses in the jacuzzi. Like that itself is just like, hey, I'm a wild and swinging guy. I got my, glasses on and my new age, thing hanging around my neck. And look, I'm going to be talking to you about how I went down to Mexico and sacrificed a goat to Lucifer. Okay, let's seriously. Okay, let's, because it's gonna come up. You're gonna see it. You can say it. I'm not making this up, guys.
volcano, it's extinct, and so it blew its top or whatever, and now it's got all this water in there, so it's like turned into a lake. But as far as lakes go in the earth, it's
Okay, so he goes on about like
Catemaco, which is a resort town. It just so happened that the man who we had already booked the rooms with at that hotel, it just so happens by coincidence and whatever, and I don't believe in coincidence. But he was Enrique Berdone's cousin.
okay, so that's somebody important. He talks about this guy who was a high priest thing, and
so I just
and he goes on, but you're going to hear it anyway. So let's cut past this part because he's going to retell it here.
Who forsook the ways of his ancestors.
So let's go back to about right here where he because Miles has to do something with this, right? He can't just let that pool footage be like, okay, right? So here we are in the studio.
Some kind of a thing that it meant that he had that power at that time.
I don't know.
There he is with a beer again.
And let me tell you why.
Okay, a beer. Always has a beer. Now here we go. He's standing up. Leon's got the tents. I got my best t-shirt on. Okay.
Or let me tell you his explanation for it, because he comes from a family of sorcerers. That he was somebody that who forsook the ways of his ancestors. In other words, he was not interested in sorcery. He was more maybe interested in disco or things that young people do. And so he went away from that. And even though he had been raised in that, even though maybe up to 10 or 12 years, but maybe when he turned about 24 or 25 years old, he decided to get back into it after being a bricklayer and stuff like that for years. And one thing that he was very proud of that he told me is that for the last 9 years, and this man is 52 years old, and for the last 9 years, he's been making a living solely from doing his work. I mean, I call it sorcery. That's probably not what he calls it, but and of course he has his compound and everything like that. So everyone in Mexico.
So we're gonna get into some witchcraft here. All right. So let's just keep going.
Has to work very hard. They have a vibrant economy there. The fact that it takes 20 pesos to make $1 makes people think, oh, their economy is weak and all that stuff. That's really just that their currency is disvalued from.
The camera's over here, dude. Like, I don't know where he's talking to right now.
Buyers. So everybody there, from what I can see, who wants a job can get one. But at the same time, yes, they have to work very hard. And so he was
like, yeah, some of Miles's expressions are like, I don't know. I don't really know what to say next.
And what happened with the ceremony that would have been so scary to your crew? I mean, were they justified in not coming with you?
Well, they were, and we even had a conversation about it, and there was the reasons that they were afraid, because people are real fear-based anyway. But immediately, as soon as they told me that, I was totally forgiving of them, because I knew that it was meant to be. And I didn't know. And I was even telling them the next day on the white magic ritual, not even half jokingly, Lucifer didn't want y'all to be there, filming the deal. Now, Enrique Berdone was a little bit disappointed. But we filmed the next day, the white magic ritual, with Enrique and Yane, the beautiful sorceress, and the old man, the mysterious old man, and the boat captain, who made sure we never photographed any of the serial numbers of his boat. And then he also did not want to be photographed. And so, he didn't know what this documentary was going to be about. And that also maybe, I don't think that Enrique Berdone has a bad reputation in Catemaco, but he's one of the heavy hitters. You know what I mean? He's the guy up on the White Monkey Mountain. He's the guy that's got the fucking power, or knows how to touch the power. Okay, hold on. I lost Miles. I can't hear him. I can't hear Miles, Brett.
Are you okay?
Okay.
That's okay.
Okay. I can hear you now. For a second there, I couldn't hear you, Miles.
Yeah, I'd hit a thing called a mute button.
Okay. All right. I know what that is.
But I knew it worked, and I knew it's just it's the thing with compliance and broadcasting. If you look at a lot of these documentaries, like building things in Alaska, they even mask out the registration numbers of any plane or boat.
Yeah.
So I think it's relatively standard that, and if you don't shoot it in the first place, you don't have to mask it out.
Yeah, that's why good call.
But it would seem that you were given the opportunity to have an experience, which meant that you could
Okay, here he goes.
experience this on your own
Look,
without the.
doing the he's and this is a routine, guys. Like, this is his knife. He's redoing his beer. All right, that he did it in the pool. Now he has to crack a beer while he's talking about a ritual sacrifice to Lucifer that he participated in Mexico. All right, this is like, come on, this is planned. He wants to, like, for some reason that he thinks this makes him look cool.
If the documentary team were there, you would have been. It would have been distracting, perhaps.
I think so, and it could have taken away from the sense of mystery, because my retelling of this tale is, frankly, I did my first, world premiere video with you, and then I subsequently did an interview with the Leak Project, and
it's like he's perpetuating. He's constantly posing. You know what I mean? It's like he has his beard, and he does his hand out, and he has this whole. It's like Zoolander almost, in a way. Like, he's got a little bit of he's aware, he's self-aware of himself to coolness that he's gonna it's like he's doing the mug in the picture, the actor mug, like, I'm so cool kind of thing.
Like 18,500 views. So it's not really the book that people mostly want to hear about. It's this blood sacrifice ritual. It's somehow compelling, and
why do they do it? What does it actually mean? I mean, we hear about these blood sacrifices.
Oh, come on, Miles. You know what it means. All right. Come on.
Movies and stuff like that. We all get very sort of scared, or blah blah blah. And maybe there's other things involved that we need to know about. Can you tell us about that?
Well,
another knife. Okay,
every
so
time you go eat a
he has to
hamburger,
show
that's
up
a
his
blood
knife,
sacrifice ritual.
and every show that he does practically. I'm going to show you that another show, right? You'll see.
Minus the ritual. So you're cheating yourself every time you eat a hamburger and get meat from the store. Now, if you're a vegetarian and a vegan, which maybe the human being was designed to be, but I'm not, then I can't, make a rebuttal. But all I can tell you is that since I have changed about a month ago, I'm now realizing that I'm treating these animals with love. These animals are special animals. From the moment they were born, these animals were special animals, and they're treated better than the other farm animals. And they have special traits and characteristics which are needed for these different occult groups. Like, there was a beautiful goat, male goat, with the horns and everything, with the long, white hair that they did. I've seen on one of their, videos recently. But the goat that I sacrificed was the goat that had been born and bred to be the goat to be sacrificed this spring equinox. This last spring equinox. Well, I got him ahead of time, okay? Because, we had been talking about them and talking about making the deal with Enrique Padron when we were in the United States. And he was like, okay, that sounds good. He's like, hit me up when you get here. You know what I mean? In other words, get over here and then we'll finalize the deal. When I went and talked to Enrique, they brought the maestro in, and this is and he was wearing one of these Guevara shirts. I can't remember exactly what they're called, but it's kind of like a traditional Mexican shirt, but you're with nice embroidery on it. And I'm telling you, this man looked at least 10 years younger than he is. When you look at some pictures of him, especially on those pictures taken by Gerald L. Long, he looks his age in those pictures, which is about 52 or 53. But when I saw him, and on the footage that I have, that you've even put your, used one of those pictures, he looks considerably younger. Considerably, he looks like a man who's, maybe 42 years old or something like this. He's a very powerful individual. He doesn't. His English is better than my Spanish, and we talked about a few things. And he showed me this team that came from Russia. That's a famous psychic from Russia, and they traveled all the way across the world with their documentary film team. And he showed me some stuff, the newspaper article, and him doing rituals with this guy who's famous in Russia, I guess. I mean, if I said his name, I doubt you'd know who he is, but it was all very interesting. But that guy and his whole team, he charged them $2,000 in American. Okay. And so he reasoned that, you know, since it was just basically just me there, you know, my team chickened out and everything like this, they would charge me $1,000 American. Of course, I instantly agreed. And so then that's when they had to put in the call to go get the clairvoyant girl who lives in a nearby village, because they have to have the clairvoyant girl. At this point, I still did not know anything about Lucifer, but I knew that there was going to be, you know, I knew about the goat, because they already told me, you know, not only, you know, what I'm kind of getting from my main, where there's the goat, you know, the clairvoyant girl, the falling down, the white magic ritual, you know, they bought all the flowers. There's many flowers. I don't know if you've had time to look at those videos from the white magic ritual, but, you know, and so.
But is this the balancing of energies? Is there some kind of balance involved here?
It really is, Miles. I think that's really what it is, because
you know, Miles, so
magic,
mild manner. Oh, is this the balancing of the energies? You know, is that what we're doing here? You know, like, oh, let's just try to make this perfectly logical here. So you know,
ritual that if we would have delayed it even one day, it would not have been on the autumnal equinox. But of course, I had already been drinking, of course, eating meat and all this stuff, maybe even doing whatever else people do.
I had already been drinking and stuff. I mean, I'm wondering if he is always drinking
In Mexico, and, you know, so not being cleansed or whatever, but he made sure to tell me that by midnight to not eat any meat. So here's one thing that we keep saying, a recurring thing that we keep saying, like with these ayahuasca rituals in Peru and everywhere else, these shamans, they have all these lists of rules. You know what I mean? You know, do this, don't do that, you know, don't have sex, all this stuff. Well, you know, when it comes down to where I'm dealing with this shaman, you know, in the jungles of the Amazon or whatever, like it was, you know, Puerto Maldonado in Peru or whatever, or in Mexico, wherever it is, these motherfuckers, they get one look at me and they're like, fuck it, this guy ain't going to follow in the rules. So like one rule. I get one rule. That's it. One rule. Yeah. So the one rule was don't eat meat.
So Miles thinks that, you know, him, you know, going woo like that is funny. Oh, he's just a charming bloke on my show. Yes. That's funny.
And did you do that?
Oh,
did you not eat meat?
No. I followed the rules. If you can get me down to one rule, I'll follow the damn rule. You know, I'm not a
See,
lawyer.
you have to it's kind of I think it's humorous that you got to get me. I'm a one rule guy. Like, you got to get me down to one rule. You can have me. I can't have any other rules but just one. So I'm hopefully he tells us which rule that he did choose. I'm not sure he followed. Let's see.
I believe in the, you know, I know that the laws, rules, and stuff like that are like weak reflections of cosmic law. You know, so I am a law abider. You know what I mean? You know, if I do, you know, look at some 420 or something like that every once in a while, that's not here nor there. You know, everybody's doing that, and I'm just a law abider. You know.
Oh wow! It's interesting that the 420 thing came up in terms of like legality of something, but you know that's. You know, like that, like the beer drinking's fine, but the 420 stuff is where you get, you know. But Texas, see, he's a Texas guy, so Texas has, I think the strictest laws on cannabis, and one of the states that have one of the most strictest laws. So that might be from. I can understand where if he's thinking that in Texas,
but especially of cosmic law.
Okay, describe cosmic law, please, because it's quite important here.
Well, you know, it's just be
like,
kind to others. You know, that's part of it.
Let me just bring out my knife. Let me just bring out my knife in the middle of the interview. Like, look, everybody, I've got all these weapons and I'm so badass. Like, why? Is he trying to like, what motivates a person to show all their weapons? And this is on YouTube. I mean, you know, and he does it all the time. Why is he doing that? So that he looks like he's threatening, like you need to be afraid of me. I might be erratic. I look, you know, I've got all this. It's very macho, I think, in a way. It's very male. Not that there's anything wrong with being male or macho, but, you know.
Welcome to part 2. And in this part, you want to talk about blood, the detail of that ritual.
Yeah.
Or
yeah, the blood sacrifice ritual. So anyway, I made the deal with Enrique Berdone, you know, and
here he goes with the glasses again. You know, it's like he's telling a story, but he's not showing his eyes. You know, the eyes are the window to the soul. I mean, the eyes, like you can tell, like you can look at somebody's eyes and tell if they're telling the truth of what's in there. And you know, we're in there, right? But he's not showing, he's hiding his eyes. All right. Also, I don't know, is that his best hair day? I mean, you know, like I'm going to go, I'm looking good. And that whole little like shaved part in here and then the lamb chop shit there, I just shave that shit off, man. That's my, I'm sorry.
I guess, you know, it's maybe a large amount of money, but it was, of course, we were already prepared to do this and it was within the budget. And so, of course, we immediately agreed. And his henchman came in. Of course, I left the money in the hotel with my man, right? You know, I didn't take the money with me. And so because we had not agreed on the amount of money yet.
But, you know, if you have a lot of facial hair and glasses and a lot of hair, you know, you're not, you know, if he shaved his hair and cut his hair and took his sunglasses on, you wouldn't recognize him. So is he hiding?
That's why. Okay. So anyway, we went up there to Monkey Mountain and met this beautiful sorceress, Yane. They have advised me that they were going to have to go get the clairvoyant girl, the 16-year-old clairvoyant girl who's going to be involved in the ritual. She was from a nearby village. And so they just made me comfortable with some lemonade or something like this. And you know, and we waited. And then while we were still waiting, or, you know, I waited for about 20 minutes. And then Enrique came and he brought me a black robe. Okay, this black robe is basically just like the one that I use here in the United States. And I had my black robe with me, which is a black robe that I personally made with the sewing machine. And but it was back at the hotel. I didn't know we were going to do the ritual that night, but, you know, I wanted to do it on the autumnal equinox.
Yes. What is the significance of the black robe?
Well, you know, and I think you've asked me that before. And the truth is, I really don't know. But the thing is, black, it's a color of mystery, right? It's, you know, it's something that's going on in the darkness. So maybe it's something for the initiated, that, you know, but at the same time, in many of these rituals that I'm in, there are, depending on what the ritual is, people with white robes. So yeah, there's a lot of symbology, and
and then there's the purple robe.
Purple, you know, it's a royal color. But, you know, when we think of black and we think of white, of course, we think of these, you know, Masonic ideas, you know, this black and white, you know, checkerboard, the game of whatever, you know, duality, right? You know, black and white. So, and, you know, we see so much of that thrust upon us in the media and everything. You know, it's like the whole world has to be black and white. You know, you have to agree or you have to disagree. You have to get engaged with this. It's our narrative. We don't care if you hate it or if you love it. We just want you to be engaged, you know. And so that's a very profound idea.
So go ahead with what happened.
Okay, so here's the deal. Enrique came and he said, okay, the time was ready. All right, then he gave me that black robe. So I put on the black robe. He was wearing his regular clothes with what he was wearing when I met with him. It's this Guero shirt, you know, and his sunglasses and his pants and everything like this. And so, and the henchman stayed out there, and we advanced, and we came out of his office, still in the compound. And then we went over here to where the pentagram was. And the pentagram was.
Can you explain the significance of this pentagram? Is it everything? What's the significance of this thing?
Well, first of all, a pentagram is a symbol of a man. You know, you've got the man, humankind, womankind, the arms and the legs, and then the head coming up like that. So it's a symbol of a man for one thing. It's also got the number 5 associated with it, and for the 5 points of it. Interesting.
I just have to take a moment and make a comment on Gopher there. I was going to have lamb chop curry for dinner until you mentioned the chops. That's funny. Some of you guys got some interesting comments. Rudy Roo, sure they gave him lemonade. Anti YouTube. Yeah, he's trying to look dumb. Toxic masculinity. Let me see. Hi, Babette Kern. Babette says he's a narcissist psychopath. Yes. There is a level of, I think, of narcissism to him. He really loves himself. It looks like, he thinks he's cool for sure. Let me see. Anti-YouTube says the one rule was not eating meat. Okay. I think he ignored that one. I think he actually ignored it, but oh well. Okay. All right, so let's keep going.
Interestingly enough, Jack Parsons, who created the modern solid fuel rocket booster, has a cavity in it that's an exact pentagram. So we see that this pentagram.
Okay, yeah, this is that's a fact. Jack Parsons was an occultist and an Aleister Crowley follower, and they did a lot of rituals in Pasadena. And that's a weird history. I think it's a weird history of Pasadena, but obviously it's pretty prominent. And yes, the pentagram is. Yeah,
is more than an idea. It's something that in physical reality, it's somehow one of these shapes that reality is built on. Much like these, platonic solids I was talking about earlier. So anyway, in the photographs by Gerald O'Long, I don't know what this is they have. That's a pentagram. I mean, it's up in the air. I mean, it's 2 or 3 stories tall, but it's a complete pentagram and it's on fire. The pentagram I went into was like burned in the ground, or maybe tar or something like this. But we stood outside of the pentagram, but you can easily see the pentagram. And in the middle of the pentagram was a flaming cauldron, 3 or 4, 3.5 feet above the ground, with a big brazier, a big metal pit with all these logs in it, just blowing up fire, And so we stood outside of the pentagram. He said, do not step on the lines of the pentagram. And so we each took one step and got inside the pentagram. Then he started telling me a bunch of stuff. Not all of it did I understand because he speaks Spanish, but he actually translated very good. But I've been involved in the occult for a lifetime. So these ideas and concepts he's telling are very familiar to me. We do our Widdershins. We do our counterclockwise movement.
So, did you hear what he said? He said he's been involved in a lifetime. So this isn't just his first experience in anything, really.
And we are praying to the east and to the north and to the south and to the west. And he instructs me to hold my hands out like this above the brazier to feel the power. Well, of course, you're feeling the power. You're not going to get too close to it. You got to burn your hands off. You know what I mean? Fire is something that is one of the spiritual element that is closest in its physical reality where we live to its spiritual component.
I think he did the Baphomet horns. Just hold for a moment. Let's go back a second. Here we go.
Then he started telling me a bunch of stuff. Not all of it did I understand because he speaks Spanish, but he actually translated very good. But I've been involved in the occult for a lifetime. So these ideas and concepts he's telling are very familiar to me. We do our Widdershins. We do our counterclockwise movement. And we are praying to the east and to the north and to the south and to the west. And he instructs me to hold my hands out like this above the brazier to feel the power. Well, of course, you're feeling the power. You're not going to get too close to it. You got to burn your hands off. You know what I mean? Fire is something.
See, he did it. It was right in there.
The spiritual element that is closest in its physical reality where we live to its spiritual component. Just throwing this in, the very next day on the white magic ritual, I had to apologize to the water for contaminating it. I had to apologize to the earth for contaminating it. I had to apologize to the air for contaminating it. And then when I was finished, I was like, okay, let's apologize to the fire. And he's like, homeboy, you ain't got to, apologize to the fire. You can't contaminate that, huh? What's up? You can't contaminate that fire. That's what they got the goddamn fire, huh? So anyway, we did these rituals, and I thought it was all very nice. I was like, well, yes, we've really done a good ritual and everything like this. And so then he instructs me that we're headed to the sacred underground cave. And I'm talking about a cave that is man-made. It's a cave, I guess he and whatever the people made, but it has had a candle lighted in it for over 5 years. It's always had a candle continually lit into it. Okay, he said, we've already got this stuff ready. We've got the goat, we've got the girl, right? The goat and the girl.
Like, we've got the goat and we've got the girl. I mean, if I ever had anybody say that, and when if I was having an evening out with anybody and they went, "Oh yeah, come on, Terry, we've got the goat and the girl," I'd be like, I'm getting the hell out of here. Okay. Okay.
Oh, okay, we're going underground. That's it. That's fucking it. All right. I said, okay, here's the deal. Let's do this shit.
Let's do this shit.
So anyway, we go over there into these, cobblestone steps. It's descending down into the earth. And so we start going down the steps, and there's candles on every step. So you can see where you're going down these steps. And we're going down the steps, going down the steps, going down the steps. And then we turn to the left. And then you're looking out into the room. And it's got stone walls all around. It's got skulls. It's got all kinds of stuff. Anyway.
Are you talking human skulls?
No, just like skulls of animals and stuff like that. And different type of stuff. But you really don't see any of that stuff because right off the bat, your entire attention is taken by this fucking statue that's like towards the back of the room. And I didn't know it was going to be this. And the goddamn statue of Lucifer, a 10-foot tall statue of Lucifer, the most beautiful statue you have ever seen. He's standing like this. He's standing like this. He's got the most masculine body imaginable, the body of like a bodybuilder. It's like even almost like exaggerated. He's got a big smile on his face. He's got blank eyes. You can't see his eyes. And he's got these horns coming out of his head right here. Okay. And he's standing like this. And he's got an erection, as in a manly erection. In other words, with buttocks, slightly, clenched forward with a type of male member that is, protruding out quite dramatically along with the...
Is this statue human looking? Is it the Baphomet or what?
Yeah. No, it's not a Baphomet. It's a man. It's a man, but the man does have horns. It's a man. That's what he looks like, and he's red. And he's painted red. And I was like, what is this? And this is Lucifer. Okay. And so here's the deal. That's when I realized I was so captivated by that statue. It wasn't until we came closer into the room that I realized, oh my God, there's something at the base of the statue. And what I'm talking about is there was a totally nude, clairvoyant girl writhing in ecstasy, laying at the base of the statue of Lucifer.
Now, mind you, the girl is 16 years old. All right. And so she's underage. She's naked. And she's writhing in ecstasy underneath Lucifer, and he's there. All right. So I'm not calling him a pedophile. All right. But I am making note that the clairvoyant girl that's naked is 16 years old on the altar.
With their eyes closed, in a trance. This person was not an actor or an actress. This shit was 100% real. And Enrique started throwing the alcohol around. I don't know what kind of alcohol it is. It's rum alcohol, or something like that. And then there's this, this incense is just overpowering you with this, the smell of incense. And, and this girl is moaning, and she's moaning, oh, you can't read. You don't understand Spanish anyway, so you really don't know what she's saying. Everything like this. I mean, glistening sweat all over her, nude body, and her pubis or whatever you want to call it was like shaved. In other words, so it's like, and it's just a sweat, just sweating profusely. And there was the power, and I was already starting to feel the power. And then Enrique started slinging that alcohol right around and slinging it around the room. He's getting on everything. He was getting on me. And I said, what's up? I said, give me that motherfucker. You know, I held my hand out like that. And he gave me the goddamn bottle, you know. I took the bottle, I gave it back to him. I mean, I don't know that's part of the ritual. Goddamn, you're slinging alcohol around the room. I'm going to fucking drink something. You know what I mean? And goddamn, the incense and everything. And this woman was just.
No, I mean, at this point, Miles looks triggered to me. All right, like I'm not. Like he's like his demeanor has changed. I mean, I even feel triggered, like, you know, but there's just somewhere it's like, holy shit, what's going on here? You know?
Near the statue and to touch
what? Huh?
And to touch the statue. And so I went to the statue, and the statue was perfect. It was perfect down to the last detail. And he encouraged me to touch the statue. And so I was running my hands all over the statue, and it was a 10-foot tall statue of Lucifer, but it's on. This is kind of the weird deal about it.
All right, so I mean, did you notice that there was a glitch there? And you know, I don't know if that, you know, but it, you know, I don't know if that was an internet glitch or if it was edited. I mean, obviously this is edited, so.
Statue, and it's a statue of a naked man, right? And so you're like, you know, not gay or anything, but nothing wrong with that. But you know, I'm just following the instructions of the sorcerer.
Right next to me is a naked man.
My hands all over this beautiful, like, masculine body, and even, but since it's on a 2-foot pedestal, I only come up to a certain height, and I'm hugging the statue and hugging its legs and stuff like that. And then I come around to the back and I'm hugging it there, and it's just like this, that the butt or the anus or whatever of the statue of Lucifer happens to be right like where your face is. You know what I mean? So this.
Sorry. The butt and the anus of Lucifer is right in your face. Oh, lovely.
I don't know if that was calculated or what. So you're just, you know.
I don't know if it was calculated or what. You know, but it was happening.
Touching the, you know, the genitals of the statue and everything like that. And shit is just getting heated up, man. I mean, it's just fucking, you start hearing this ringing in your ears, man. And that's when they fucking start to get you activated. And that's when he fucking starts blowing that goddamn.
How does it get you activated? We're having a lot of breakup in the picture at the moment.
All of this stuff, everything's just coming together. And what it is I was being pulled into a trance. Pulled into a trance with the visual aspects of the cave and the statue and Enrique Bordone explaining the things to me, and a 16-year-old totally nude girl in front of the altar writhing literally in ecstasy. I mean, she's fixing to come off this motherfucker. And I mean, this shit, I was getting in the trance too. And then I drank some more alcohol, and then Enrique, totally out of the blue, he said, Manifesto! Manifesto! And he was yelling at that statue. He was trying to tell it to manifest. I said, what the fuck is going on? I said, is this statue going to come to life or what? I mean, I don't know what the hell to expect. You know what I mean? And he's like, get her right here in front of the girl on this altar and everything. But he didn't tell me to. But I touched the girl. And I had my hands on her arm. And she was practically coming. He didn't tell me to touch her, but I put my hands on her arm, and she was practically coming off this motherfucker, man, in that goddamn sweat. I mean, the fucking sweat was just fucking coming off of me, and it was just fucking coming off of her, and it was just a lot of fucking sweat. And I was kneeled down there, holding on to the girl like that, and then I fell for one of the oldest tricks in the book. I was just sitting there just like totally entranced, and then bang! He fucking rang this huge fucking bell right in my ear, surreptitiously, where I didn't know it. And I was just like, ah! It was like, it totally, it brings you out of your reverie. I was just, and then before I could even calm down, I turned around and there was fucking Yane.
See, if you look at Miles's face, Miles like, oh geez, oh man, I mean, it's almost like he's on a ride at Disneyland that all of a sudden he's like, when is this gonna freaking end?
In a black robe, just like I was. I don't know how that bitch got down there, and she had on a fucking leash. She had a goat, a full-size goat. You understand me? And that's the goat. That's the goat. We had already been messing with the knife. Enrique had already run the knife over the girl's chest. And he looked at me to say, do you understand? You understand what I'm saying? In other words, I don't know what the next level is. You know what I'm saying? But he's rubbing this knife.
I don't know what the next level is. You know what I'm saying?
Over a human being's skin. And I looked at him. I said, yes. I said, yo entiendo. Yo entiendo. So it's not like he, has not warned me where this might go. But here's the deal. And so there was Yane, and there was the fucking goat right there. And that motherfucker goat, that goddamn goat.
As if he hadn't warned me where this might go. Like what? Like, are we talking human sacrifice here? Could it have been would he have been okay with a human sacrifice? That's I don't know about you guys, but to me, that's what he's saying right there. That
he was chewing the gut, just sitting there like looking like goats do, real dumb, just chewing the cud. This is a goat that's been treated good his whole life. You goddamn ceremonial goat. But that's when it overcame me, that I realized that the responsibility that had been put on me, because goddamn, now it was time to do or die. You understand what I'm saying, huh?
Okay, so here he has his knife. He's got his knife.
I didn't come halfway around the world, to look like a chicken in front of my new friends. You understand? And they didn't have to tell me where that knife was. It wasn't this knife right here, but it's this one that reminds me of it. But it was a ceremonial dagger. And goddamn, it was right over there by the girl. Robert had been rubbing over that girl and everything like that. And that's when you know what you have to do. And let me tell you, I had a moment of weakness where I looked right there at the goat, and that goat, he just looked just like that. That goat, he didn't fucking see any of this shit coming. He didn't see none of this shit coming, all right? And I was even had a weak thought to myself thinking, hey, you goddamn goat, that goat didn't do nothing wrong to me, huh? And so I had a moment of hesitation, but it was so short of a moment, because I would not have been, I would have been embarrassed in front of my new friends. And so I just walked over there.
I would have been embarrassed in front of I would have been embarrassed in front of my new friends if I didn't sacrifice the goat. Okay. It's right.
Black eyes. She is so beautiful. Yane, dressed just like I was, in a black robe, just holding that deal. How the fuck they got there, I don't know. It doesn't even make sense that they could have even snuck up on me like that. You know what I mean? And then they ring the goddamn bell, and then all of a sudden the motherfuckers are there. What the fuck is going on? So anyway, I grabbed that leash, and Yane looked at me, and she's so beautiful, but I just didn't even look at her, and I had a goddamn knife, and I just got that goddamn, I put that knife right there on that, stump and everything like that, and I got that motherfucking goat, and I got him right here, and goddamn, I just picked that motherfucker up, and I didn't slam him. I just, put him down there, and then I grabbed him, and I started going after that motherfucker. I just started tearing that fucking bitch up, and the fucking blood was going everywhere, man, everywhere. You goddamn, and then motherfucker, and they think those people, they're tearing out his heart and holding it above their head to where all this blood come out. So I think I'm gonna do that. So I get the goddamn knife, and I'll stick it up. Up in there, but it's just rib cage or something. I don't know the anatomy of a goat. I was like, fuck that shit, man. I just fucking threw that goddamn knife down, and I just picked that motherfucker up. His tongue was already sticking out of his head. He wasn't even, I just picked that motherfucker.
So this is the film festival, right? Miles Johnston's film festival. Sorry, okay. This is a submission to the film festival for the Basis Project.
Okay, I just slammed that motherfucker down on the ground, huh? I broke him. I broke that motherfucker. So he was.
You know what? I mean, I'm having, I can't, like, that's scary. Like, I know I made a joke, but like, he actually scares me. Like, I would not want to be in the same, like, right now, I'm kind of like, because of the fact that he did this video about me, right? And now and he's done more than one video about me. And then I'm watching this, doesn't make me feel all that comfortable. I'm going to be really honest with you. I'm talking about gang stalking during the pandemic. Why is this guy even talking about me at all? I've never done a show with him. I've never even spoken to this guy. And yet he's on his show telling people that I'm calling everybody a pedo. And I even made a comment. I said, look, do you have a link? I bet money in Vegas that you can't prove anything. I mean, like, where is it that I'm doing this to people? I mean, have you looked at my channel at all recently? I mean, like, what is it? Like, why? Okay. And he used to have like he used to have a show called Basis Texas. Now it's What You Don't Know. Okay. He has 3 or 4 different channels. Some of them have just a few videos on it, but he's got like backup channels going on.
And so then I looked at Enrique and he pointed up there as if, you go upstairs, you go over there with the henchman. And so I went up there and I said, fuck that, I'm not going to do that. And I didn't go with the henchman. I just went out to the motherfucking jungle. And I was just, just going through the fucking bushes and being torn up by thorns and shit, rocks and all this stuff.
I almost feel like I'm a casting director and I'm watching a performance, like it's being filmed right now. Okay, what's your name? Ayin Thorpus. Okay, Ayin, you start out line blank blank blank. And then he's going through his spiel, but obviously he's retelling a story of truth that happened to him, or is he? Okay.
I started realizing that I was in the jungle and then I was on the earth. And then I look up there in the sky and it was the moon. And I said, ah! And then I started getting, thinking that I might get tired. And so I wanted to go back to the camp. But I said, no, I have to do this. And so I picked up a boulder.
Miles is like,
pull it out of the ground and stuff.
How much more time do I have left? He's looking at the clock.
And I picked it up and I made a big boulder, man. I don't know, it's 50 or 60 pounds or something like that. I'll take this boulder right here. And I take this motherfucking boulder. But then I was like, no, I can get one bigger. So fuck that, man. I threw it down on the ground and I got this bigger boulder. And I got it up and I picked it up like this. And then I was like, oh, fuck that, man. That motherfucking boulder's too heavy. So I threw that one down and I got the first one. And I got that boulder.
He just looks like he's grimacing. Like we can't see what the other guy's doing, but look at his face. He's like, oh, holy shit.
And I picked it up and I went back. And I went back to the compound. I was marching with my boulder. I was holding it here to the chest and I could see my goddamn, moon right there and everything. And then boom, I came out of those bushes. And
he's freaking triggered, man. He's triggered.
Compound and I had that boulder in my hand. I said, you see? It's just like Cain and Abel. It's just like Cain and Abel in the Bible. And his henchmen didn't know what to do. But Enrique was standing in front of them. I came towards him and he held his hand in front of his man like that. And he's like, hold your ground. You hold your ground on this motherfucker. And that's what they did. They held your ground. And then so I turned around away from them. And I threw that boulder down on the ground so hard into the earth it made a thud. It went boom. And you could feel it. And then goddamn, I turned around to them. And I said, you see? It's just like Cain and Abel. And so,
like, I played this earlier today, and I had my speaker on. I was playing it on my laptop when I was first watching this, and I was like, the screaming was so loud that I thought, oh my god, these people are gonna think that I have some dude in my, you know what I mean? It was almost like I felt like as if they were like, what's going on in that in her RV? What's going on in there?
that I calmed down then, and they knew everything was okay, that I wasn't gonna like attack them with that boulder, and so they relaxed, and you could see a sigh of relief going off their chest and everything. Like
Okay,
that.
they knew I wasn't gonna attack them with the boulder, so you know, I mean, did he frighten the other people? I mean, like did he frighten the high priestess? Like he lost it, like he saw a sacrifice of something that was living and something that was a blood ritual, and he got activated with a boulder, so they were afraid that he was going to hurt them. Is that what's going on here?
So anyway, that's when Enrique approached me and he instructed me, because I still had on my black robe. He pointed to these sinks over here and everything. He showed me to go wash my robe in the sink. In other words, it's a part of the occult that you're supposed to clean your own house, take care of your own business and stuff like this. And so I was to wash my own, black robe. And so, of course, I took it off and I put it in the water. I put it on some water and stuff like that. I mean, they got old ladies and stuff like that that take care of that shit around there. So, I mean, I just made a point to show that I was really,
they got old ladies and stuff that do that shit. Okay.
And doing the work and everything like this, and then I just let it go down there. And then so I went over there back to Enrique and his men, and he gave me the final instructions for what we were going to do on the white magic ritual the next day. And I assured him that the film
okay,
team
so
would be there.
that's pretty much like the highlight of that one. Okay, and that guy is actually that guy is saying things about me right now on his channel. So I'm going to look at some of you guys' comments. He's a character, all right. Biggie 21, Big J 21. Let me see. KB, I do not freebase cocaine. I'm sorry, but the dude has smoked quite a bit, and it's not the green stuff. That's what I first thought when I first looked at him. That's what I thought that's what I thought was going on with him. That he was on something speedy because his eyes were all big, and he's asking Holly Bagley questions. He seemed real sweaty, and he just kind of, I don't know, he just had a real. Anne's a great actor. Durward is his own best fan. Gary Gaynor commented, stage events are just that. Many hands make a light work. Light of the truth hides dark activities. Gary said good night to all too. Okay, well, good night, Gary. Rudy Roo, goat and girl. Run. Yes. Yeah. Oh, I've got the goat and the girl, or anti-YouTube goods or meth. Okay, so I want to show you guys. Okay, wait, I want to go to here. Okay, I want to show you guys okay, I gotta stop the share. Okay, darn it. All right, I want to show you guys the video that he did about me. Okay, so I'm gonna take it. There it is. It's right there. Okay, so I'm gonna take it right here. Okay, so here's his recent video. He doesn't have the whole lamb chop look really. Share the screen, but this is it's titled Taj Investigates Sandra DeRoy, Max Spears, Sarah R. Adams, John Urwey, Terry Joyce, and Lauren Pritchard. So this is in direct response to the video that I did. All right, this is I mean, obviously the whole thing was about Taj and Max and everything like that. So this is, but he to me, he mostly talks about me. I might be wrong. Let me just share this. Okay, so let me let's go here.
Yeah, I can.
How long you go? An hour? Or no?
Yeah, no, I'm just joking.
I just wish there was a way. See, it's almost gonna fit. Not quite. Son of a bitch. I put a. I know what I need. A thicker towel. If you put a thicker towel across there, it'll hold it.
Okay, that'll work, Mel. Let's do that. It has come to our attention that society, as the way we know it, and the world.
I've got a bunch of these in store. Well, not like this, but things that you can hang stuff.
See? Basis, Texas. Basis, Texas. So he's connected to Miles. There's a studio. He's all professional now. Oh, that's lovely. So here's where let me put my glasses on for a second. All right, where's my glasses? Oh, I guess I don't have them. Something about what do you get when you put Sandra DeRoy, John Irwin, Terry Joyce, Sarah Adams, Taj Investigates, Lauren Pritchard, Apocalypse, and Ayin Propos in a room on a public concerning Sarah DeRoy's recent video about Max Spears. So he said Sarah, but it's actually Sandra DeRoy's. So this is in response to what I said about Sandra DeRoy's my last show. Okay, this is what this is about. Here we go. It's gotta wait for people to come. See his knife in the corner here? See it? Okay. I don't want to. Come on, dude. Oh, well, here he comes. Here he comes. Here I am. Ta-da! Yeah. He always does that point. Oh, let me,
All right.
Look at his little headband.
All right. Anthropos here with another exciting episode of You Don't Know. You don't know, huh? So don't act like you do.
He's still like in the wrong damn camera. I mean, seriously, can't look in the right area. We're over here, dude.
Something bad might happen to you. And I'm talking to you. Oh, all right. We've got a fun and fact-filled show for you this evening. I'm going to bring you up to date on a couple of things. We're going to talk about Randy Morgan's show that I'm going to be on 2 days from now on Wednesday.
Okay, so there he goes with Randy Morgan's. Going to be on a show 2 days from now. So I don't know. Maybe he's already been on Randy's show. Interesting. Why would Randy be doing a show with this guy? He doesn't seem like Randy's show type to me. Or maybe it doesn't matter anymore. Right? Just
Wednesday. I'm going to be on Randy Morgan's show. Actually, the show might not come out on Wednesday. Just stay tuned. I'll keep you all advised about that.
it might not come out at all.
But a couple things going on in my personal life.
Oh, please tell us.
I've got a new friend. I don't often do this. As a matter of fact, I never do this. But if you will,
I'm gonna have a toast now. I gotta have some alcohol. Here's my drink. Let me get my drink on.
This young lady likes me, I guess. And anyway, this is my new friend. Oh shit! Now she's a rich lady living here in Austin.
She's a rich lady living in Austin.
Don't know what's up with that.
Opposed to a not so rich lady.
People on Facebook were like, "Hi,
I wonder if her power got turned off.
how did you manage that?" I'm like, I don't know. I don't have any fucking idea.
I mean, it doesn't matter how rich you are when the power grid goes down. All right, you're still going to be sitting in the dark. All right, here's my cocktail. I got my it's got a big mug there. It's got a big mug, big ice.
That's it. Oh, that's it. Got your dumb luck here. Dime a dozen, huh? I beat the shit out of bad luck.
That's what I used to have back in the day. Young man, much.
Oh, so
looking than
come
I
on,
am
let's get to
now,
the
and,
point here.
Ooh. Woo!
Say something, dude.
Ooh, that's good.
Oh, it's good. I bet it is.
There was a video that I put out last week, somewhat controversial.
Oh, is it now?
I believe it's called Truther Community. This is the video you're looking for. And it was a video I didn't really relish putting out. It's quite a diversion from my normal videos that I put out. Which are
Let's get to this going.
Like this. There was I think it's the second. Well, if you include the Maria Colley video, I guess it's really the third. And so the controversial video, the Truther Community, this is a video. Get more on that story from him on Wednesday. But it's the man who and they were maligned unfairly and untruthfully. And that's what pissed me off. And these allegations that TJ had.
Oh, this is me. Let's go back. Here we go.
And his name is Randy Moggins. And so anyway.
Okay, let's go here.
I know that he doesn't not personally like that title of super soldier, and I can't blame him for that. But we're talking about somebody who is really was in these programs and was, conditioned somehow and enhanced somehow. I'm going to get more on that story from him on Wednesday. But it's the man who hosts Off Planet Radio, and he's somebody that I've been watching for a number of years.
I don't know. I mean, he's explaining things about Randy. I mean, he talks about Randy has done shows on super soldiers, but to my knowledge, Randy hasn't been in programs and this and that, and has implants and everything like that. These are topics that he does. All right. Randy has his media goes into that, but also Randy used to be more of a Christian quasi network. He's worked with Christian people-ish, New Age-ish. They got in some scams, and then he's hooked up with this Thomas Williams guy and Kim Gogan and the Mana Trust Fund with Thomas Williams. That was kind of a scam. Then he broke away from that, and I thought he was going to retire. Like last I heard, he was going to retire and maybe write a book, but now apparently he's still in the game and he's interviewing this guy.
Someone that I admire. And his name is Randy Moggins. And so anyway, he was caught up in this whole affair.
How interesting. Like I said, how interesting that he's going to go off on me now. But right before he does that, he's talking about, connecting and I guess having a conversation with Randy Moggins, apparently.
SA or especially TJ, not necessarily SA, but TJ.
Oh, wait, we got to go back farther. Because he says my name.
The Truther Community. This is the video you're looking for. Okay. Well, anyway, not that he needs defending in any way, because he is one of the only verifiable super soldiers and badasses. Although I know that he doesn't.
Well, we got to go back, I guess, even a little farther.
Super soldier Colley video. I guess it's really the third. And so there's the young lady's names in it, and I got about 350 views. And anyway. Truther Community.
Okay, let's go here.
This is the video you're looking for. And it was a video I didn't really relish putting out. It's quite a diversion from my normal videos that I put out, which are full of fun, fact-filled information and compelling, and I interview compelling authors and experiencers. And of course, I myself am an author and an experiencer.
Okay, he went from entering in a film contest with Miles Johnston a few years ago. Now he is an experiencer and an author. Okay.
Mentioning it was released under a different name.
I mean, these guys reinvent themselves all the time. I get, and what gets me is there's people that just believe this. Like there were comments on this video where they're saying, "Oh, you really nailed it on the head, guy." I go, "Nailed what on the head?" Like, explain this to me.
Lady's names in it, and I got about 350 views. And anyway, I read
this lady's name's in it.
Edited it a little bit more and changed the title, most importantly, to where it doesn't have these people's names in it. It's essentially a video calling out some people in the truther community that are doing harm to the truther community.
That's me.
So that's what it is.
I'm doing harm to the truther community. This is truth? These people are telling the truth. I'm doing harm to them telling the truth. Are you serious?
I think not the first video I've done like this. There was I think it's the second.
You know, I think I'm doing people a favor by showing showing you these guys. All right, like, is this what you want to follow? Fine. I mean, but I also have the right as a, performer, a comedian, as a content provider to analyze and criticize them because they are public personalities. They're public. He's a filmmaker. So I can talk about his art all day long and I don't have to like it. Tough shit. Get over it. All right.
If you include the Maria Kali video, I guess it's really the third. And so I'm not trying to specialize in this.
And just, Maria Kali is a UFO experiencer that Miles Johnston has interviewed, and she's had a beef with him for a really long time. I'm just filling you in on who he's talking about if you don't know. This is all bases stuff. This is all Miles Johnston stuff. All right?
Radar that's doing harm to the truther community. And I'm not talking about that I don't believe their story. If you got a story that I don't believe, you ain't got to worry about me, trying to debunk your story or say this person's lying, that person's lying, or anything like that. That ain't my
It don't matter. Just tell your story. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. I don't have to debunk it. Well, you know what? Sometimes you have to debunk it when it happens to be somebody who's lying about you or somebody else that you know. And to me, yeah, I have to debunk it. I want to debunk it. So like I don't have to do anything like that. I really do. Is that right?
It's just these two ladies, and I'm talking about Sarah Adams and Terry Joyce.
Okay.
From now on, here on out, refer to
why is he talking me with her all the time? It's me. It's Sarah Adams and Terry Joyce. Okay, let's go.
S.A. and T.J.
He's calling me TJ.
For a lot of reasons.
For a lot of reasons, like what?
I don't even want to get
Say
into
my
it.
fucking name.
Hear what the deal was. Go to the controversial video. The truther community. This is the video you're looking for. Okay. Well, anyway, not that he needs defending in any way because he is the one.
Okay, so it's about Randy Moggins now. Randy has not been any of this conversation at all. I have not even been talking about Randy, but now what I've done wrong has to do with Randy Moggins, not the title here. See, I find this interesting.
Bible super soldiers and badasses, although I know that he doesn't not personally like that title of super soldier.
He's not a super soldier. Randy Moggins is not a super soldier.
Really was in these programs.
Really? He's like
was
bullshit
somehow and enhanced somehow. I'm gonna get more.
I did shows with Randy Moggins. I worked on the Liberty Beacon project with Randy Moggins. He used to do my blog. He is not a super soldier. This is just total bullshit.
From him on Wednesday, but he's the man who hosts Off Planet Radio, and he's somebody that I've been watching for a number of years. He's someone that I admire, and his name is Randy Moggins. And so anyway, he was caught up in this whole affair of SA or especially TJ.
Especially TJ, get your story straight. SA has nothing to do with it.
TJ.
That's right. Terry Joyce. My name is Terry Joyce.
To vilify people that were good people that are in our community.
Really?
Do a lot of hard work to get out information.
Right. Like lies.
And they were maligned unfairly and untruthfully. And that's what pissed me off. And
we're maligned. I'm maligned with Sarah. I am not maligned with Sarah Rachel Adams. Get your story right. You're so behind it. Are you getting your info from Randy Moggins? What is this? Get it right.
We're proven false over a year ago. Yet she continues to make
Proven
these
false
same-
over a year ago. No, it has not been proven false over a year ago. Nobody's proven anything. Nobody's answered to anything. Show me the proof. And Propos. Let me put the camera back on me. Okay, Ayin. Propos. If you watch this video, I'd like to see the proof of how those domains and everything have been unproven as not being real, or it doesn't exist, or whatever. I don't know what those emails are. I don't know what those domains are. I think I understand them. I've done a lot of shows analyzing them. I never said anybody was actually guilty of anything, and especially not to Randy Moggins. That is Randy Moggins' interpretation. I challenge either one of you to find one piece of footage where I'm sitting there calling you a pedophile or accusing you of anything other than asking you what the meaning of those domains were. Ever since that guy showed me those domains, Ben Deschaines sent me an email, and I accidentally said it on Stephen D. Kelly's show. I showed it to him. He never answered to me. I did a show on his channel. He came on in the second half. I was so freaked out because I was being harassed. And I'm not going to mention their names right now because I don't need them on my back at the moment. But it was insane. I was being, people that listen to Revolution Radio, people like Revolution, Nighthawk himself, Randy Moggins was in there kicking my ass. I read what he wrote about me to Ben Deschaines. He told Ben Deschaines I was a failed comedian that was a drug addict, 40-ish, homeless. Okay. I used to be a colleague. We had a mutual friend. We did shows together. You were in the back door of my blog, and I don't get an answer to anything that I'm talking about, but I get told that I'm just awful, and this nut job, sword swinging, whatever, is gonna, look, we're gonna go farther. Just arrived. What's going on? Oh, I'm showing footage of Durward Mahon, who, first of all, in the previous part, when this publishes, I suggest going back and watching it because I shared a video of this guy on Miles Johnston's show where he talks about going to a ritual where he sacrificed a goat to Lucifer, all right, in Mexico, all right. I mean, that was his introduction to his film. Miles was running a film, festival, and this is what he submitted to Miles. So now he's branched off of this basis Texas stuff. And this is his response. This is a response to my last video when I talked about Sandra DeRoy and John Irwin and, read the funny, I made fun of Sarah. Okay. This is what he's talking about. And there was a past history of shows. And matter of fact, I have a playlist about Randy Moggins of research and things that I've done. And also, the subdomains and the domains that were shown to me that were connected to Project Camelot. I did this on Kevin Moore's show. Maybe sometime I'll show you that interview so you can, get a background. I've talked about this out when I went to Kevin Moore's show and I presented this evidence because he was investigating Carrie Cassidy. Randy Moggins got all pissed off again. He's threatened me. He's made all these threats to me, but he can't send me a lot. He can't do the real legal thing. If Randy Moggins didn't want me to talk about what I found or ask or have a discussion or respond to this guy on my video, if he wants me to shut up, he needs to go get a lawyer and send me a cease and desist or something like that. And that hasn't happened. Although he has tried to get me to click onto a phishing email because Randy has tech capabilities. All right. He put together the radio station for the Liberty. He did the whole thing for the Liberty Beacon Project, and he screwed them over too, by the way, just so you know. Two Cardinals and a pack of Marble Reds. Welcome. Hi. Frank Gustra kind of guy. Yeah, he's who is he really? Like, what is he doing here on the, he's fringe. And I really shouldn't pay it. Who cares, right? But I do care because he swings a knife around. He's at the other video. He's screaming and yelling and saying Cain and Abel. I mean, could this guy come and hurt me? Like, where's this guy's head at, really? And they just, and you know, it's perfectly fine. Randy's going to have this guy on his show. That's what he's saying. Seriously? Really? How far are we falling, Randy?
Allegations. And let me say this, because I did not say this on the video the other day. This is very important. Have you ever been called a motherfucker? Have you ever called anyone a motherfucker?
He just doesn't know where his camera's at.
Let me tell you, I've been called a motherfucker plenty of times. I've called other people a motherfucker plenty of times. Okay. And so I think everybody has, except for maybe, 2% of society. If you're one of these, nice people that's had enough morals and restraint and everything to never use these words, well, more power to you. And this next statement, the point I'm trying to make, just, leave the room or something like that. Okay. This is about the 98% of the rest of the population that has in fact called somebody a motherfucker or has in fact been called a motherfucker themselves. Here's the point I'm trying to make. If you call somebody a motherfucker, or if somebody calls you a motherfucker, are they actually implying that you had sex with your mother? No, they're not. It's just a bad word. Now, of course, we can see, the origins of it, and then the insult would be if somebody, was involved with an incestuous relationship with their mother, then they would be a motherfucker. This would be a title that would be, bring shame upon them and everything like this. We can see that this is the origins of the name calling of the bad word motherfucker. But the truth is, if somebody's a thief or lying, or they're stealing from you, or they cut you off in traffic or anything like this, you call them a motherfucker because it's a bad word. It never really, if they heard you call them that to their face, they're not going to sit there and think that you're actually implying that they had sex with their mother. That's not what it is.
Okay, now here's where he takes it.
A bad word.
Watch where he takes this.
Means something, has transcended that meaning and become commonplace, and in a way had all the meaning taken out of it. So this is a very valid point I'm trying to make here. Please stay with me. TJ.
That's me.
Terry Joyce.
Terry Joyce
is actively accusing a whole slew of people of being pedophiles.
When did I do this?
Okay. A pedophile is somebody who.
When did I do this? Okay. Who have I accused of being a pedophile, and what slew of people have I accused of being a pedophile? I you know what? You need to provide some evidence, sir.
The most reprehensible, satanic thing imaginable.
The most reprehensible satanic thing ever. And we just watched earlier in the video how he sacrificed a goat to Lucifer. This guy, excuse me, talk about being hypocritical.
Human consciousness of the normal human being, and so it's such an affront.
What does this guy know about consciousness?
It's despicable, and it's considered the very lowest, actions of humanity. It's beyond. It's just the worst degradation. It's the worst thing that you could call somebody. But let's take a look at what Terry Joyce is doing. She's calling all these people pedophiles. What she's really doing on the cool, and I know that she knows that she's doing this, she's taking the fire out of pedophilia. She's normalizing the accusation of pedophilia. She's turning it into like motherfucker. Like if you're mad, if somebody cuts you off in traffic, that's a pedophile. Whatever, pedophile. Well, what does that do? It takes focus off of the crime of pedophilia. It takes focus off of the horrific crime against humanity and crime against the cosmos that pedophilia is. And don't you see that plays right into the hands of evildoers? So Terry Joyce's, not only is she accusing people of this terrible thing, which they're not guilty of, she is normalizing this phrase. She is taking the
you know
meaning
what?
out of
I
it
mean, yeah, let's
and
go
making
to
where-
my
where-
other. I mean, we're like my last video. The title of this, Taj Investigates, and I called these guys out, and I questioned Sandra DeRoy because she was making claims that John Irwin had choked Miles. It wasn't true. Another guy said that he had information about James Caswell. It wasn't true. I talked to John Irwin. All right. And I lampooned Sarah. I barely talked about Taj. Said nothing about Randy Moggins. Said nothing about pedophilia. Made no mention. But this guy is like, I am just calling everybody a pedophile and this and that and blah 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 blah. And he said this about me before. There's a second show, another show about a year ago where he basically did the same spiel. You know, I'm normalizing the word pedophilia and I'm calling everybody pedophiles and this and that. And he calls me TJ, and he also referenced Sarah in the last video. So he's doing a repeat performance of something that he did nearly 2 years ago.
It's just no big deal. I mean, if you don't like the lady in front of you at the grocery store, oh, well, she's a pedophile, right?
Yeah, I do that.
When
I'm at the grocery store, matter of fact, I was just at the grocery store today and I saw a woman and I looked at her. She was by the frozen fruit. I said, "You're a pedophile." Yeah, that's right. That's what I do in my neighborhood. Yeah, that's what in my mouth. You're a pedophile. You're a pedophile. Yeah, that's right.
Every expectation of.
Dude, I'm not even the same state as you. What do you know what I do at the grocery store?
Her and SA, calling me a pedophile, saying that I have.
Me and SA. I'm in cahoots with Sarah Rachel Adams. And yet I just read, I read emails, her targeting emails and made a point, but I am in cahoots with Sarah calling everybody else pedophiles. Dude, you're behind the game. You know what? When Randy Moggins calls you up or whoever activated you to like do your video or what, why you had to come in to this picture and hop on to some sort of gravy train of something you think you're part of, why are you doing repeat news? Like, did not anybody tell you what the real point of what you're supposed to be saying is? Like, what kind of like perp is this? Like, he's really fucking up to whoever he's working for. Like, he's got the wrong script. You should be embarrassed. I'm calling you out. Whoever you're answering to needs to get you in order.
Porno channels, But I have been advised by several people that no, they're not going to do that. At this point, their credibility is so shot. Probably the last thing they're going to do is attack me. I don't know. I'm prepared for the attack.
You're prepared for the attack, are you now?
Personally. This
really?
Is the first time I've ever been in contact with this woman.
Yeah, you've never been in contact with me.
She had maybe done a little bit of looking around on the internet and everything like that since she made a discovery that, whatever, in her opinion, I was a poor person who was living in a rundown apartment.
Oh, he's talking about Sarah now. All right, so I'm going to pop off of this on him. There's a couple things I want to share with you before the nights. Terry, who is saying what to you? That is a guy. You came in late, Stephen. Sorry. That's a guy named. He goes by two different names. His name Ayin Propos, and he also goes by the name of Durward Mahon. Okay, he has and earlier in the show, I showed him on Miles Johnston in a film festival entry where he's like with this chick in a water tub and everything, and then he does a whole spiel on how he was involved in a basically a ritual blood sacrifice to Lucifer where he stabbed a goat. Okay. That happened earlier in the show. I'm glad you're here though, Stephen. Welcome. So And he's responding to what my last video, like my last live stream that I did about Taj Investigate, Sandra Deroy, and Sarah Rachel Adams, calling them out basically, because they advertise themselves as being, they're filmmakers and they are media to help targeted individuals. And yet they are guilty of doing the targeting. This media targets its own people. That's my point of what I'm exposing in the last two, stuff. Oh my God, let's watch. Okay, yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, he really goes, he screams and yells, and there's a whole big performance done. But you might want to go back later. But the thing that I want to do now before we leave, before I go, and it's almost we're almost at the 2-hour mark. First of all, I want to let you guys know a couple things about myself. I have my podcast, and I'm also doing a midnight podcast live stream on Instagram. I'm at Terry Joyce. So please follow me on Instagram, and I will be doing a live stream that goes on my podcast. I take footage from that and I put it on Anchor, and then it goes to Spotify and Google Play and things like that. And so, I'm doing different things. Like I'm doing live streams like this, and I'm doing just something where I just, do a rant. The podcast it's a satirical rant for the apocalyptic times. Okay. I know it's not going to be, mention apocalypse, but it's something different. And again, I'm wanting to branch out into other media outlets, Also, I have a blog site where it goes with the show, Not My Rabbit Hole, Beyond the Red Pill, at notmyrabbithole.com. And if you want to support me and support my work, I do have a PayPal at hollywoodhemptress@gmail.com. And that's Hemptress, HEMPTRESS @gmail.com. Also, if you go to my blog site, I have a donate button. I have a Patreon at patreon.com/freedom of Joyce. And so, I'm bringing more content and everything. So I just want to tell you where I'm at and how you can follow me. Also, do take a moment, and I'll try to bring all the, I keep saying I'm going to have all the links later on, but have the links attached to this where, like my new channel on YouTube, it's the Not My Rabbit Hole channel. The last video I had uploaded, I did a little excerpt from my first Instagram. And if you go into the descriptions, there's also a link there that you can go to the channel of Not My Rabbit Hole here on YouTube. And I'll be uploading things. It'll be different, a little bit different than here. Like I took the live stream of Shia LaBeouf and cut it in half. So anyway, there's something I want to show you on my last. I want to get off of this right here. Okay, and then stop my share. I want to go to one of my I want to go to my other live stream and read to you what somebody posted in the comments, and I actually highlighted it. It's a lot of information about this different kind of targeted information, and there's something that he says. I probably won't go through the whole piece, but I want to highlight something that he said by a couple of videos to confirm that what it is, it's true. Okay, you'll get what I'm saying here in a minute. Okay, so my videos. Here it is right here. Okay, I'm going to have to do a screen share on it. Okay, and oops. Okay, here it is. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to do a screen share. Thanks for being here, you guys. Stop, Shia. Yeah, I know. Shia is here, let me share the audio. Yeah, Steve Ronan, yeah. Person like Shia. Yeah, I did actually on my stream on Instagram, I talked about him again, and kind of it was a different way because it kind of narrowed it all down into one thing, like kind of a rant about what happened to him. So it's a different way of getting the information. And if we get a moment, I might show you something with Shia. Welcome, fun show. Hey, Patrick, welcome. Steve Ronan, gorgeous. Well, thank you. I don't know if that's me, but see, let me see. See Sarah on Christina's pod promoting her healing abilities. I was like, what the fuck? Yeah, I didn't see that. But yeah, is that recent? Is that a recent Christine? KB says, welcome, Stephen R. Welcome. Okay, so I want to read this to you. Okay. And it starts here about part 1, Robert Duncan, more puzzle pieces. Everyone, especially TI, should read Dr. Robert Duncan's books. He's basically the guy who helped put this surveillance system apparatus together for the NSA and government, and the guy who was on Jesse Ventura's show. He became a whistleblower when he found out on the evil purposes they were using for this tech, and how he's now being targeted with the very same technology he helped create. The gang stalkers enact their role-playing skits with street theater, all set up first by implanting words or thoughts into your head with V2K voice to skull and subsequent pre-recorded staged events. So it goes on, and but there's one point talks about the Alice in Wonderland programming, Wizard of Oz, the scripts, the Christian programming. White Knight talks about backwards trickery. I mean, like, I would really suggest, like, if you want to go to this and take a look, and I might go into more detail on this, but it's getting late and I don't want to lose you guys' attention here. But as you go on, there's a part where, okay, that's Humpty Dumpty. They break you down. They can't put you back together again. Experts agree that non-ionizing electromagnetic radiation near can affect behavior, but the question is whether the radiation can be harnessed and used on people at a distance. With its MK Ultra program, with CIA began looking for answers in the 1950s. And then it talks about the Manchurian candidate. Okay, so, and then I'm looking for the part where it talks about how the AI, here it is, and then it goes on, it's a supercomputer and this and that, and then how, yeah, this is the one I want to read you, and it culminates, I believe it's in this paragraph. I hope it is. It culminates into talking about how a license plate, like everything gets so synchronized in this sort of like virtual setup thing and scenarios and everything like that they can actually even make it so something will happen to you and a car will go by and the license plate will say something that relates to what happened to you. And there's a video of Max Spears talking about this, and another guy who's a TI that was on his site. This guy has a YouTube channel, A Current Conspiracy ACC. Check it out. He's got some videos there. And I found 2 clips where 2 guys talk about the license plate thing, and I want to just show you that. Okay, so here we go. This part here. These scripts are why the synchronized events are so unbelievable at times. The technology is so advanced that it will feel as if you're a Neolithic caveman trying to comprehend how they pull certain things off in your reality. It will almost seem as if they have reality itself uplinked to a supercomputer, and it's used as a processor to simulate everything going on around you, to simulate every conceivable scenario they can put the TI through, such as the license plate timing or the TV or radio ad that comes up when you were just thinking about that particular thing, or having you sit in a perfect seat where a message correlating to the V2K voice to school words or subliminal messages they gave you the day or two beforehand is right on display for you to see. Look at the 3D graphics in video games now, especially the PS3 and PS4 or Xbox, how real everything is, and most importantly, the AI, artificial intelligence within the game. Okay, so anyways, I wanted to at least point out the thing about the license plate, because now I'm going to show you a couple of like quick videos. Okay. Hold on just a second. You'll see where I'm going with this. Okay. I want to go back to my library. Oh, like I can see where I'm. Okay. So let me just get the right thing here. Okay. This is the Max one. All right. So I'm going to click on, I'm going to show you Max. When I watched it, it's like, oh, Max, it's like, he's back. Anyway, I'm going to show you this really quick. All right. We're going to do a screen share. All right. It's titled The Last Interview Super Soldier Montauk Pedogate Part 1 on YouTube. And this is somebody else's channel. Okay, so here we go. Wait, let me just make sure. Let me make sure I did that right. I just want to make sure you guys hear this. I just want to make sure I had the little box collected. Chrome tab. All right, here we go.
That happened. I was living in an apartment 222, which ties in with these things. This was in Los Angeles, and one morning I got a letter in the mail, and the letter was addressed to me, and it was from something called the Neptune Society. And I'd driven when driving down Ventura Boulevard in Los Angeles. There's this huge building. You can't really see, there's windows, but you can't really see anything about it. And on the top it says Neptune Society. That's all. There's nothing else. So I'd seen it since I was a kid. I never knew anything about it. I received a letter in the mail, and it said the Neptune Society. I opened the letter, and all the letter was saying, it says, "Dear Mr. Spears, have you ever considered being cremated when you die? Cremation," and it gives me all these reasons why cremation is a far better way to go than being buried. And it was about this long, and it was signed at the bottom, "If you have any more queries or anything else, please don't hesitate to contact us." So I left it on the side of the breakfast area where I was, and then I went to sleep that night. Well, at 3 o'clock in the morning, I woke up. And I heard this crackling sound, and I sat up.
And 3 o'clock in the morning is like, that's also a, witch ritual. It's a satanic time. It's like 12 and 3. So be careful when you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. And a lot of songs have 3 o'clock in the morning in it. So like, if you notice, like it's 3 a.m. or even is it 2 a.m.? Sheryl Crow. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of songs that have 3 a.m. in it.
And the whole of my kitchen was on fire. All the front of the breakfast area was on fire. The food was on fire. The flames were like coming off like this.
Now, was this a actual or virtual?
It was actual flames.
All right.
All the top of the thing was burned. And the letter that was on there had completely burned out. I ran up, I jumped, I put the fire out. And also all the gas was turned on. All the gas from the oven was turned on.
Ah.
Now,
well, that would be one way of cremating you.
Yes, I thought that was extremely.
Probably doesn't do a very good job, though.
I had feelings it was connected to the Hellfire Club, and because
you mentioned the Hellfire Club is interesting because I think it involves Jimmy Savile and also the methodology of Marie Kayali's daughters.
Really?
Attempted incineration in hospital.
They like that. There's something because there's something about the element of fire which allows these beings to come
the
through.
Ring of Fire.
Yes. Well, there you go back to the Johnny Cash song. That's the Ring of Fire. Johnny.
I mean, after listening to Ayin Propos' video about the fire and what the fire meant and the cleansing of the fire and how they use the fire in the ritual. And then now there's this going, like there's Max's story, and I wanted to show this. I want you to make that. I'm pointing that out to you, the connection there.
Talking all about that. That's what he's talking about. It's a hellfire ritual. But when I got up that morning to leave the house, there was a black Suburban, tinted windows Suburban sitting outside the front of my building, and on the license plate it said "Blow You Up." And as I woke up,
so they were basic. Oh, that was in the dream.
This is real.
Oh, this is real.
The flames were real. Waking up was real. The car was real.
So they're basically letting you know.
That was 2011 that happened. And you know what day it happened? It happened on August the 12th. And August the 12th is a very specific day because it is connected when Sirius is at its highest point in the sky. August 11th, 12th, and 13th are called the dog days because the dog star is the most visible. Now, Crowley got married on August the 12th because he sees it as when Sirius has its highest effect on this planet. And he was trying to bring in an
That wouldn't happen every August the 12th, would it?
What's that?
It wouldn't happen every year, would it?
What doesn't happen every year?
That Sirius would have its most...
Yes, every single year.
Okay.
And at that point, so there are negative and positive factions coming from Sirius. He was trying to open doorways to bring the certain ones from Sirius through here. When I started to get close to what was going on with that and what was going on with the dog days, they wanted me out, and I was okay. It was fine. There was a couple of other things on the 13th of August and the 14th of August. There was a couple more attacks that I had. Out of nowhere, my whole apartment became infested with cockroaches within a 24-hour period. Cockroaches coming out of everywhere. So
now, is that an actual placement of them, or is it somebody did materialize them in? Or?
I think that it was the heaviest attack that I've ever had.
I mean, this is the kind of thing you only sort of see in horror movies.
Yes, and it was absolutely real. On top of that...
So how did you get rid of them? What happened?
I went and told the landlady, I said, this is going on, and I had to stay out of the apartment for a week, and she sprayed everything. And
okay, so I'm gonna stop this here because, and I'm sharing it because, you know, Max was targeted. Okay, Max was like I think we can all. I mean, to me, Max was Max was a targeted individual. And look at the people that were around him at that time. All right. I'm just going to point that out to you and look. And I'm saying this media targets us. I've been saying that for a long time. The media is responsible for it. The targeted individual media is responsible for targeting its own talent. Okay. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm experiencing. That's what I've experienced. You know, it may not be just them, but the harassment is off the hook. All right. And the next thing I want to show you is from this other guy's channel that left the message on my show. And here's another guy who again mentions the license plates. Okay. This is more just audio. So I want to share it here, but there's a screen share screen. Chrome tab.
Square foot house for, $190,000, $220,000, which in Northern California, Southern California would be $1.5 million, $2 million. I thought, okay, let's try that. Let's head out to Arizona, and we found actually. My wife is the one that picked this place, and we did. We moved into, and then we just rented a place for the time being until we were going to buy something. We moved into this giant, beautiful house. Never lived in a place like this in my life. I felt like I moved into a castle. Beautiful neighborhood, by a golf course, and I thought, finally, we're here. We did, we're doing something good. This place is awesome. And then it started in again. Only new things started here. The directed conversation was everywhere now. It was in stores. When I was going into, I'd just go check out in line. And the person that would check out in line they would mention 2 or 3 things that I was just talking about in a private conversation in my home the day before or earlier that morning. And it wasn't, where it just happened 1 or 2 times. It would. Every time I left the house, I would go to the store. I go to the post office where I go every single day to drop my packages off to people. The post office would do it to me. Go to get my brakes fixed. Every single place that I went, somebody knew my information or somebody was giving me a hard time. Somebody would be walking out of their way to walk in my path and stop in front of me so I would run into them. I couldn't leave a parking lot without 10 cars backing out at the exact same time, blocking me in, start honking at me. I started noticing that a lot of custom license plates that had something to do with the exact same thing that I was just talking about, same thing in prior conversation, that would be driving in front of me, cutting me off, slamming on the brakes. I started getting actually the white and red vehicles were swarming me. And I have a couple of videos on YouTube.
Okay, so I wanted to point that out to you. All right. And one last thing before I go, I want to go back. There's something that I noticed in the Shia LaBeouf video that to me also looks like I finally dawned on me, wait a second, is this targeting here by a motorcyclist? I didn't let me explain. Let me find it. Let me go back to my my channel here and go to here. Okay, did something happen to Shia LaBeouf? And okay, and then I'm gonna do the screen share on it. Okay, so I want to share this with you. Here it is. Okay, so I'm gonna go. I saw some of you guys' questions there, and I'm gonna get to that in just a second. But I want to show you something here. Okay, this is here it is. Here it is. It's right after this. All right, watch. Like where is his point of reality at this point? And they're just letting him do it.
At least the movie was successful. Fury received solid
All right,
reviews.
it's
and
not
grossed
here.
over $210 million at the worldwide box office.
It's gonna come right after this.
Number
Let's just go
15,
through it.
Biker stare down. Driving around Burbank, California must be fun. You never know who you're going to see in the car next to you. In
Okay, but
2013,
wait a
short clip
second.
went
See, the footage comes from this motorcycle, and he'll get up and you're gonna see. So why does this guy have a camera? Like, watch.
viral showing LaBeouf intently staring down a biker at a red light. LaBeouf's Silverado slowly rides up next to the bike, and when the biker finally looks over, he sees LaBeouf staring directly at him.
How you doing? Good. I got earplugs in, but have a good one.
The two
Okay, I mean, look, was he staring at him because he was following him and being weird and targeting him? And then, like, now they have footage of him being inappropriately looking at him on the road to be part of this other, you know, little spiel here on this entertainment news and to you know, humiliate him, basically.
Brief pleasantries before the light turns green. In a later video, it was revealed that the biker had been driving between two lanes of stopped traffic, a move that LaBeouf seemingly didn't like too much. Either that or he just enjoys staring at people.
Okay, like you have it. All right, so I wanted to show that to you guys. And then I see that some of you have made comments as I want to. Bad Company said, how did they do this? The guy, I could go back and, I mean, if you want to go back to the video, but how that basically what I read is it has to do with some of its surveillance, AI intelligence, technology, voice to skull. Like they can tap into what you're thinking and then do things, and they're able to manipulate the other. According to this one researcher that's researched into everything. I mean, do you guys want me to read more into it? I mean, it is getting kind of late. It's connected to my last video. I have it pinned if you want. It's three different comments, one after the other. But, you know, the thing that got me was, you know, the license plate thing. Like Max Spears is sitting there talking about how he got the Neptune letter, which is about cremation, right? Then he wakes up at 3:00 in the morning, and and there's a fire taking place, and the letter got cremated, and then he goes outside and he sees a customized license plate the next day that says "blow up" on it. And that is exactly what this researcher is describing, that's what happens when you're going through targeted harassment, because it involves an element of AI and technology and things that may not be exact. Like, okay. And again, this might be woo-woo for some people. All right. But I'm kind of wondering about things because, Zeph Daniel, who's also a targeted individual that talks about this, he says that should we call them the 1%, right? The 1%, the elites, the people that own all the wealth in the world, the people that are running the show, they live slightly out of our time. Like they have something that they can see ahead of things, or what a person might do, what they might go. And there's this thing with like radiation, and I mean, this is what they talk about, like the V2, the V2 to skull electronic harassment is that we're electrical and our brain's electrical, and so they're getting savvy enough to put thoughts in people's heads. Like I don't know if you've ever dealt with somebody who has dementia, but they can really beam some shit into a person who has dementia, and they'll just say awful things to you and maybe not even realizing that they're actually really saying it, because they're like an open vessel for it. So you got to be careful around that. Gopher says, I believe you that he was targeted with that fire. Bad Company says, keep going. It's like the thing of it is though it's like it's 11:20 here, and I've been talking for 2 hours and 20 minutes. So I figure I kind of end around there, because I just think that when people, like, I don't want to be like Douglas Dietrich and do 12 hours. Like, people will not click onto the content altogether. And this is almost like 2 shows in a way, because I started out talking about Durward, right, and showing you guys who he was and where he came out of and this and that, and then showed him harassing me, right? But I'm not the only person. Apparently he's ripping Sarah too. Now I'm showing you what happened to Max, and then like this whole, because the last show that I did, that's where the guy put the comment, and it's about targeted harassment in filmmaking. It was very informative. And after I read it, I happened to stumble. I looked at his channel and watched this video, and then I remembered the license plate thing. And then ironically, because they say there are no coincidences, right? I think he had, or somebody else had, this video upload of Max's interview, and I happened to watch it again, and then there I heard the license plate thing again. And so go for, yeah, I'll go find something vegetarian now for dinner. That goat scene ruined it for me. yeah, the goat scene is uncomfortable. Like, I mean, it to me, it was kind of like, wow, that is just intense. It's like, and I would be afraid to be in the same room with him. That's just me. I personally, I never want to meet the guy. And I really hope that he decides to stop talking about me. Oh, Susan, you fell asleep. No worries. Thanks for being here. And also, I did mention about, my Patreon and where to donate. I did have someone give me a donation on the last show. I want to thank you for doing that. And they were friends with Holly. And so, and also Susan is very supportive of me, and I really appreciate you, Susan. And I'm glad you showed up at the end of the night. And also want to give a shout out to Bad Company, who's all here. Rudy Roo never misses a show. And Steve Ronan. Okay, so we got Susan Cano, go first. Steve Ronan. Info Create, nice to have you be part of the chat tonight. It's 2:30 over here in NYC. Well, thank you for hanging out till 2:30. Cheers to you. Stephen Ronan's also part of Truth. I met you at Truth Seekers. So there's Gopher again. Let me see. I don't want to miss anybody. Bad Company. Okay. 7 a.m. here. 2 Cardinals and a pack of Reds. Robert David Duncan is from Texas. I don't know. CIA family. Patrick J. Moran, my favorite artist. Shout out to Patrick. Let's see. KB has been here. Anne was here. Anti-YouTube. Okay. Gary Rayner. I think he bailed a while ago. Raven is here. Raven had a comment. Even Lucifer's wishing he would shut up. Raven also said, shame on Miles for giving this moron a platform. A platform, yeah. And apparently Randy Moggins is too gonna give him a platform. Raven also said, so obviously a show and doing what he did makes him disgusting and vile, not cool, pathetic. Anti-YouTube said he looks like a character on a comedy movie. He does. I agree. Is this supposed to be real? Masculine posturing. Please, no Elvis songs. That's hilarious. Oh, Enrique Bodun. Raven, true that. Demon that dragged Elvis down the toilet. Elvis has gone bad. Raven, I thought you were calling Sarah McAdams. There used to be this song that we do. I remember when it came, he goes, dun-dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun. The Addams family started when Mr. Adams farted. They all came out. The Addams family. No. Okay. Yeah, we can't say that one word anymore. I was thinking like, you can't say that word because it's not politically correct, right? But so what do you say? Like they all came out mentally challenged. The Addams family. It doesn't have the same, but hey, back in the 70s, we did that. Okay. Of course, you can put any family's name in there, you know. Terry, I think you do better shows than Douglas. All the news is read of the news of the week. Your stuff is way more exciting than his liberal views. Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's nice. All right, you guys. I really it was fun, and I'm glad that you showed up, and we all got together at this one time in the cosmos, no matter what time zone we were in. And it's a pleasure having you and reading your comments. And so until the next time, take care. Bye.